Here we are, guys. We are almost done with our research papers. We're just putting the finishing touches, and I made you a checklist to help you do that. Everybody should have their thesis in their paper, but I went ahead and put it on the checklist. That way you could be like, yes, boom, I definitely have that opinion statement that I am setting out to prove. And how am I going to prove that thesis? With a minimum of 3 claims. And these are also written as opinion statements that you are going to prove. And then you gathered your evidence, so you need to make sure that that made it into your paper. Again, 3 per claim, so a minimum of 9. Some of you actually have more than 3 claims, and so you don't have to have 3 per claim on those additional claims. So as long as you've got 3 claims that each have 3 evidence per claim, then everything else is just bonus after that. All right, your analysis. This is the new thing. This is really the bulk of your paper, the majority of your paper. This is where you take that evidence and you relate it to the claim. This is where you can say why that evidence is important and how it ties into the claim and how that relates to the thesis. But again, this is going to be in your own words. This is where you argue, this is where you persuade, this is where you convince. Okay, and now we're going back to the checklist of academic language. Do not use first person. There's no I's, there's no me's, there's no second person, there's no you's, there's of course no we's or us. Keep it professional. When you use first person or second person, you actually alienate the reader, and it's going to sound stronger without it. And we are looking for a strong paper. So, and then I also academic language, no slang, no abbreviations of like text abbreviation like in real life. Do not shorten that up. All right, concise language. This is where we want to make sure that while you can repeat ideas to drive home a point, you don't want to ramble. So there can be a fine line, so be careful on that. Introduction. We went through this a lot before we went out of school. So an introduction is your first paragraph. You do need to include your thesis. You need to mention all your claims, but you're going to write them differently. You're going to write them differently than how they appear in your paper. You need to be able to say your claim in multiple ways, because you will be saying each claim in your paper, you will be saying each claim in the introduction and each claim in the conclusion. So we need to make sure that you guys are familiar with your claims. So first paragraph, it introduces your paper. We want to have a hook or a grabber, but since I'm not in class to help you with that, I am going a little easier on that. I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to put hook, grabber. Make sure you include your thesis. I like to put the last sentence of the introduction as my thesis, but really that can go anywhere. If you've got any counterclaims, usually the introduction is a good place to put your counterclaims, where you mention like, other people may not feel this way, and I'm going to, well, of course you don't say I, but you're going to put they're wrong. Conclusion, it's the last paragraph. It's very similar to the introduction. Introduction is tell me what you're going to tell me. Conclusion is tell me what you told me. And the body is tell me. So they are very, very redundant in MLA papers. So the last paragraph, you're going to wrap things up. Maybe you have a call to action where you want to make some changes, but make sure you mention all of your claims again. The MLA format, this is just to check that you did put your last name is in the header with the page number. You've got your name, my name, the course name, the date up in that upper left-hand corner. You've got the title centered. Everything is just a simple double space. That's the MLA format part. The grammar check. The free Grammarly does not do well. I wish you guys all had Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word has a grammar check. We don't have access to that, and so I will be going kind of easier on your papers. But I do want you to run them through the free Grammarly, because I can tell what checks is the free Grammarly and the paid Grammarly. So if you don't even have the free Grammarly check done, then you're going to lose a lot of points, because that's a very simple, spelling and the free grammar check are definitely expected. And then Hemingway editor, I went ahead and put that link on here. I want you to run it through there, because it's going to tell you if you've got confusing sentences. And that site will look like this, and what you'll just do is you'll just select all this, and it gives explanations right here. But you'll just select all this, and then you'll delete it, and you'll copy and paste. You'll copy and paste your paper in there, and it'll check it for you. So it'll tell you about like adverbs, passive voice. This is what we call strong. Ideally, you do not want to have very many adverbs. And I do want you to change any passive voice. Passive voice is when your subject isn't doing the action. We want your subject to do the action, to do the verb. And of course, the hard to read sentences. So this will be really good for you guys. Organization, that's a couple of points. Like, does your argument have a logical flow? Does it build? In-text citation, that's a big one. Every time you use that evidence, and remember, you should have 9 parts of evidence, 9 in-text citations. You need to remember, put the parentheses, either the author's last name or that short title if you don't have an author, and close parentheses, and then the period. And then if you used, you should have it in here. So for every in-text citation, I should be able to find that website here. Now you have 9 of these. Originally I said I wanted 7 works cited entries. You know, I did less than that. I'm going to go easier on that. If you've got really good sources, I'm going to go easier on that. But make sure that everything that you used is found on the very, very last page of the paper. And there's a separate video for that, and you guys can look that up. I told you to use Purdue OWL. You know, I will go ahead and say that. See video. Purdue OWL. All right, so this is our checklist. After you have this, and this week is really about this. This week is really making sure that you've got your analysis written into the paper. All we're doing from here on out for these last 2 weeks is improving the rough draft, polishing it into a final draft. And honestly, this is it for the year. Like, because then the last week it's going to be about continuing on with these double checks and having other people read it, but I'll wait to go into that. But we're almost done with these papers, guys. So the light is at the end of the tunnel. We can see it. Let's get these papers done. Good luck. Remember to call or email me or text if you have any questions. Bye.